Right now, a stranger is struggling. Maybe they dropped something. Maybe they're lost. Maybe they're drowning in paperwork at a counter while you wait behind them. And you help. Without thinking. Without being asked. Now here's what nobody has ever told you about that impulse. It isn't uniquely human. Rats do it too. And the reason why breaks everything we thought we knew about empathy, evolution, and who gets to count as a moral creature. Most people assume altruism is a human invention. Something that came with language, culture, religion. In 2011, a neuroscientist named Inbal Ben-Ami Bartal at the University of Chicago ran an experiment that quietly rewrote the rules. She placed a rat inside an open arena. In the center was a small plastic tube, sealed shut. Inside the tube, another rat, trapped, distressed, squeaking. The free rat had never been trained. Nobody showed it what to do. It circled the tube. It pressed against it. It bit at the door. And then it figured out how to open it. Bartal ran the experiment dozens of ways. She put chocolate chips in the arena, the rat's favorite food. The free rat would open the tube first, then eat. It shared the chocolate, voluntarily, with a stranger. When she put a stuffed toy rat in the tube instead of a live one, the free rat ignored it completely. The rat wasn't just responding to the sight of another rat, it was responding to distress, to suffering. That's the word Bartal used in her paper published in Science magazine, empathy. But here's what's fascinating. The rats didn't help just any rat. Bartal ran another version in 2014. She introduced rats from different social groups, strangers who had never shared a cage. The free rat still helped, but it helped less consistently. It hesitated longer. And when she introduced rats from a completely different strain, bred separately, unfamiliar by sight and smell, the free rat often didn't help at all. The empathy had a boundary, a radius. You do this too. Every day. You donate to your neighbor's GoFundMe faster than you donate to a famine relief fund on another continent. You hold the elevator for someone you recognize. You walk past the stranger. Psychologists call this in-group bias, but Bartal's rats had it before psychology had a name for it. Here's the twist. She found she could expand that radius. When she housed rats from different strains together, let them live side by side for weeks, share the same smells, the same sounds, the same space, the boundary shifted. The formerly reluctant rats started helping the outsiders, consistently. The familiarity had rewritten who counted as us. The circle wasn't fixed. It was learned. That single finding is one of the most important things any scientist has discovered about the nature of compassion. Now let's go deeper, because the next question is obvious. Why does empathy exist in a rat at all? Evolution is supposed to be selfish, survival of the fittest. Every organism competing for its own genes to win. In 2006, primatologist Frans de Waal at Emory University published a paper in Science that reframed the whole question. De Waal had spent decades watching chimpanzees and bonobos comfort each other after fights, share food unprompted, and intervene when a third party was attacked. His argument was this: empathy isn't a detour from evolution. It is evolution. Social animals that live in groups depend on group cohesion to survive. A rat that ignores the suffering of its neighbor is a rat living in a weaker group. Weaker groups get picked off. So over millions of years, the nervous systems of social animals got wired to feel what nearby creatures feel, to notice distress, to respond to it, not because they're noble, because the ones that did this survived longer. De Waal called this the Russian doll model. Human morality isn't built from scratch. It sits on top of older emotional layers shared with animals who diverged from our lineage 85 million years ago. Bartal's team looked at what was happening inside the free rat's brain while it was trying to rescue the trapped one. They found elevated levels of corticosterone, the rat equivalent of cortisol, the stress hormone. The free rat wasn't just watching another animal suffer. It was feeling the suffering. Its own body was registering the other rat's distress as if it were its own. And when it opened the door, when the trapped rat was free, the corticosterone dropped. The free rat was relieved, not rewarded, relieved. That distinction matters. Reward means it got something. Relief means it was already carrying something. And helping was how it put it down. Think about that. Every time you've helped someone and felt better afterward, your nervous system ran the same program as a rat in a Chicago laboratory. You weren't being selfless, you were removing your own distress by removing theirs. Helping is selfish, in the best possible way. Now here's where the story gets stranger, because not all rats help equally. In 2020, a team of researchers at McGill University published findings showing that rats who had previously experienced pain were significantly more likely to help other rats in pain. Specifically, Rats that had gone through a mildly painful procedure, then recovered, showed faster and more persistent rescue behavior than rats with no pain history. The experience of suffering expanded their empathy. It didn't harden them. It opened them. You probably know a person like this. Someone who went through something hard and came out the other side more generous, not less. That isn't a coincidence. That is an ancient biological mechanism, written into your nervous system hundreds of millions of years before you were born. Psychologists call it post-traumatic growth. Bartal's rats were running it in a lab in Montreal. Bartal's team ran a final variation. They gave the free rats a drug that blocks oxytocin, the bonding hormone that floods your brain when you hold a baby or hug someone after a long absence. Without oxytocin, the rats stopped helping. The free rat would still approach the tube, still investigate, but it wouldn't work to open it. The motivation was gone. Oxytocin is the chemical bridge between feeling someone else's pain and actually doing something about it. Without it, empathy becomes observation. With it, empathy becomes action. And here's what that means for you. Every time you feel genuinely connected to another person, your oxytocin rises. Your threshold for helping drops. Isolation does the opposite. When you spend weeks disconnected from other people, that system gets quieter. You feel less. You do less. Not because you became a bad person, because a molecule went quiet. The rats gave us the mechanism, and the mechanism is us. The real question is, how did helping strangers get inside us, all of us, rats and humans alike, in the first place? The answer is grief and pressure and 85 million years of social animals learning that the only way to survive a world trying to kill you is to stop surviving alone. De Waal wrote something in 2008 that stopped me cold the first time I read it. He said, "Morality is not a veneer on top of selfish instincts. It is an outgrowth of the social instincts we share with every other mammal on this planet. We didn't invent kindness. We inherited it. It was already there, underground, before there were humans to name it. You didn't help because you read a philosophy book. You didn't do it because society told you to. You didn't even do it because you're a good person, though maybe you are. You did it because a rat would have done it too. And somewhere in that fact, if you sit with it long enough, there is something that feels less like an insult and more like a relief. Goodness isn't fragile. It isn't a recent invention that civilization could just as easily have skipped. It is ancient. It is biological. It is written so deep into the structure of social life that evolution kept it for 85 million years and never threw it away. The capacity to feel what another creature feels, and to move towards them because of it, is not a luxury. It is the oldest survival strategy on Earth. You didn't choose to have it. You were built with it. The only question evolution left open is the one Bartal's rats answered with familiarity. Who counts as us? And unlike the rats, you get to decide.